And just to show you how the dumpling turned out here, give it a little cut here. So there you go. Like I said, these come out really good. A lot better than biscuit mix. You know, I find that stuff's kind of light. So for lunch today, I think I'm gonna make some chicken and dumplings. So first thing we'll do is get the dumplings ready. I'm gonna just, after I get everything mixed up, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator. So we got 1 cup of all-purpose flour. We got 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. We got 1 teaspoon of baking powder, which I have that in there with the salt. We got 1/2 of a tablespoon of butter, melted slightly. We got 1/2 of 1 egg, beaten, and we got basically 1/4 cup of milk, and then 1/2 of a 1/4 of a cup of milk. So basically, this 1/2 of 3/4 of a cup of milk. So we'll go ahead and mix everything together. And so this is a pretty easy recipe for dumplings. Then you know, add the butter. And it's not when it's done mixing, it's not very runny. You just drop them in with a spoon whenever you get ready to add them to the sauce, the gravy. So let me get that mixed up and I'll show you what it looks like. So when it's all mixed up, that's how it looks. Just basically forms a little ball. I'm gonna scrape my spoon off too, and I'm gonna cover this with aluminum foil, and I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator. And this is the recipe. I'm only using 1/2 of the recipe, but this is the actual full recipe I'm using. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 egg beaten, and 3/4 of a cup of milk. So that's the recipe. That's the original recipe, and I just halved everything just to make 1/2 of it. I'm gonna go ahead and cover that with foil and put that in the refrigerator. Now we'll go ahead and get the chicken and gravy made for the dumplings to drop into. This is 1 medium onion diced, and we're just gonna cook this for about 5 minutes. Just to where it gets translucent. After you got a little brown starting on your onions, this is 1 pint of chicken stock. This is 1 quart jar of pressure canned chicken with the juice. This is some tarragon. To me, this is the most important ingredient if you're making chicken and dumplings. Without it, it just ain't the same. So we're gonna start off with about that much. I mean, you pretty much gotta have that in it. This is some garlic powder, and we're just gonna put a little bit of that in there. I think it'll give it a good little taste. This is some cream of mushroom soup, 1 can. Add that to it. This is a little bit cayenne pepper. Gotta have a little bit of that, add a little heat to it. About like that. And maybe a few grounds of some black pepper. Add that to it. Looks like I'm adding a lot, but my pepper shaker is about empty. And we'll just mix that up and I'll show you what it looks like. So that's how we look. And like I said, this chicken was already cooked for 1.5 hours in the pressure canner at 10 pounds of pressure. So it's basically like falling apart. I mean, you can just take it and, you know. So with that, the chicken stock, the stock that was in the chicken itself. This is going to have a very good chicken flavor. And like I said, the chicken's going to pretty much cook to pieces. And I'm going to let this simmer on low for about, I'd say 1 hour before I add the dumplings to it. Like, everything's really already cooked. The stock has been cooked already. The deboned chicken has been cooked already. The only thing we're cooking basically is the onions and the cream of mushroom soup. So we'll let this simmer on low for 1 hour. So this will be in exactly 1 hour. Go ahead and turn it off. And I did add that half a cup of milk around halfway into it. I just wanted to make it a little bit more whiter, and that's the reason I did it. And you got to remember, once we put the dumplings in, the dumplings are going to soak up a lot of the gravy, so you don't want to have it too thick when you put the dumplings in. And I think the dumplings is probably going to take around, we'll see when I do it, I think around 20 minutes or so. And you just do them on a low simmer with the lid covered. But I'm going to turn this off for now. Like I said, I'm cooking this a little bit ahead of time. Gave it a little taste earlier. Tastes good. Didn't add any salt to it. The cream of mushroom soup has a lot of salt in it. And when I do my stock and my processed chicken, I don't add salt to the meat or the stock itself. But that cream of mushroom soup is pretty salty. So keep that in mind. And there you go. We're just going to cover this and just let it sit for a couple more hours, and I'll just, when I'm ready, I'll reheat it up and I'll drop the dumplings in. So I went ahead and reheated my gravy up, and I took the dumpling mixture and I just made some little loosely, basically just took the spoon, scooped it out, and just made some little balls like this. And make them however big you want. These will swell up a pretty good amount, so keep that in mind. And just drop them in. And we're gonna cover it and simmer it for 20 minutes on a very low flame. So there you go. Been about 20 minutes. I just turned the fire off. That's how we look. Like I say, the chicken pretty much in pieces. Maybe just put a little bit of the gravy on top, you know, of the different ones. Just maybe let it sit about maybe, I don't know, you can let it sit a couple minutes with the fire off just to let them kind of absorb some of the gravy. I'll probably let it go about 5 minutes, just sitting here. There you go, chicken and dumplings. Very simple. Takes about 1 hour, you know, total cook time. Could have used cream of chicken, but cream of mushroom I find works pretty good with this. Plus it gives it a little color, you know, to the gravy with the bits of mushroom pieces. So this is the way I like it. Comes out pretty good. Dumplings are really good. Last time I made this, I actually messed up and used baking soda instead of baking powder, and the dumplings actually fluffed up bigger than this with the baking soda. But the recipe actually called for baking powder. I just messed up. But they were still good. So this is the right way to make it, with baking powder. Not sure there's much of a difference. So let me show you how it looks in a nice fancy bowl. And you know, just get you some big old scoops of it. I'll probably have 3 dumplings, I think. Some gravy. I'm gonna just have this with a green salad. So there you go. So that's how the dumplings look. Kind of a close-up view of them. Like I said, we got some chicken in there. We got some mushrooms. Should be pretty tasty. Well, if you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Thanks.